My name is David Fountain. I taught for 27 years, and since then I've been on a mission to help other teachers understand their pension scheme or schemes. This presentation, though, is not about the pension scheme itself, but it does cover one aspect that I know worries many when they're starting to think about taking their retirement. The issue concerns how much of a drop in income you have when you move from earning a salary to taking your pension. For example, these are roughly my figures. In today's terms, I would be earning about £60,000 and I've got an accrued pension worth about £20,000. Now, going from my £60,000 salary to a £20,000 pension is a massive drop, £40,000 a year. Now, looking at my wallet, I've got in here a little visual aid. 3 £20 notes. So that's the equivalent of going from this in my wallet to just this. That's a big change, isn't it? It may mean I have to take very drastic action to cut down on what I can spend on. And it kind of reminds me of the time when I was a student, when they first brought out cash points. And the maximum you could take out from the cash point was £50. And I was always getting into trouble. I'd go to the cash point, take out £50, I'd flush in my wallet was full. I'd go out and spend it. And then I realised that I didn't have to take out the £50 every time I went to the cash point. I could take out less. And if I took out £20, it meant my wallet was less full and it forced me to be much more careful about spending. So it is possible to cut down as long as you budget carefully. However, that isn't the focus today, and I want to get back to whether or not we're really losing 2/3 of my income. Certainly, going from 60 to 20, it looks that way, doesn't it? But let's look at what comes out of the salary and the pensions before they get to me. So firstly, we look at pension contributions. When you're working, you pay a pension contribution from your salary. Now, teachers' contributions depend on their salary, but they range from 7.4% to 11.7%. In my case, if I was on a salary of £60,000, I'll be paying 11.3%, which is just under £7,000. And you can see that here from the little orange section I've taken off the salary. Of course, when you start taking a pension, you're no longer paying into your pension. Of course, you could still choose to do that, a different pension, a private pension, but that's another story. I'll cover that in some other video. So now, let's look at that. The advantage that the salary had over the pension has been cut by a bit, quite a bit, 7,000. So now, carry on with this. Let's look at what else is taken off before we get our hands on the money. Let's look at income tax. Okay, now this time we do pay, if we earn enough, we do pay income tax on our pensions. But of course, there is the personal allowance. Now in 2020, you can receive £12,500 without paying any income tax at all. So both of our figures, the 60,000 and the 20,000, are over that figure, so we're going to pay income tax on both. So bear in mind that from our salary, it's not 20% of the 60,000, because when you pay into a pension, that gets taken out before your tax is charged. So it's 20% of a lesser amount. In this case, we're taking away our personal allowance and our pension contributions. So we're talking about 20% of just over 40,000. And that means that we're paying income tax on the salary of £8,144. Now, we also pay income tax on the bit of our pension. But that personal allowance makes up a much larger proportion of that smaller pension. And so we're only losing £1,500 to income tax. Now that's less than 1/5 of the tax that was taken from our salary. So again, that's closing the gap between the difference we get in our pockets from the salary and from the pension. The next deduction is national insurance. Now again, pensioners do not pay national insurance. And national insurance works on bands quite similar to the income tax. It's a little bit trickier. And as a rough guide, if you want to just roughly know how much national insurance you're paying, it's about 10%. But I've put the actual figures on the slide here. Now, the salary will lose just over £6,000 in national insurance payments. So again, closing the gap. So what does that mean? let's look and see just how much ends up in your pocket. With a salary of 60,000, you get to take home about 39,000. The pension of 20,000 sees you taking home 18,500, which means that massive £40,000 headline drop is in reality in your pocket a drop of just 20,500. So, going back to that £60 I had in my wallet, it may look as though I've lost 40, but in reality I've only lost 20, because that other 20, that was never yours in the first place. It was going to the taxman or to your pension contributions. So my final message is, don't fall into the trap of being paralysed by that headline drop. Get your calculator out, work out what it means to you and what actually is the change in what ends up in your pocket.